This year, my clients, my average has been 6,500 per session, and that's just happening over and over and over again.
Yeah. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Success by Design with yours truly, Michael T. Davis. And I am here with the amazing Pam Fields, who is a stellar boudoir and beyond boudoir photographer based out of Vegas, photographing men, women, couples, erotica. She gets down and kinky and loves for her clients to have freedom and autonomy in her bodies. And I'm so excited for her to share with us how she got into it, her life in this industry, the platforms that she speaks on, and how she really is successful in using funding and really providing her clients with not just amazing images, but amazing wall art as well. Pam, welcome. Tell us about yourself.
Hey, Michael. Well, like you said, I live in Las Vegas. I've actually been here for 5.5 years. I love the city. I love everything about it. So, and even the heat. So, because we don't have humidity. So, but I've been on quite a journey. It has been a pretty incredible journey with my story. I was a homeschool mom back a while back, and left the workforce in 2006 as we lived quite a nomadic lifestyle as my now ex-husband built and grew his career, and I stayed home and homeschooled the kids as we coordinated many moves. The last before we moved to Vegas, the moving into the house I'm in now was our 14th move over a 12-year period of time. So
Wait, 14 moves?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage that with the family?
It was tough. Well, I homeschooled my kids so they could have a consistent education. And so I have two kids. They're graduated now and with honors, and because you homeschool it, they can have honors. So they both got scholarships, merit scholarships for college and everything. So my son's a senior in college now, and so he's almost done. My daughter's been done, but it was a lot. Along the way, when we lived in Indianapolis briefly, and I can't even remember what that year was. Maybe 2014, I think, is when it was. And my daughter started doing a little bit of modeling. She I had just had a little point and shoot camera. We would play around taking pictures, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, she's really photogenic, and I know people that, she was a landscape photographer, so I know people who would love to shoot with her." So that's where I first got into photography. Okay. Was into real photography, learning the camera. People had told me for many years that I had a really good eye. I should get a real camera. And I'm like, well, this is a real camera, my little point and shoot camera. Right? And, but you could control the aperture. And I'm like, the who? The what? Yeah. It was, my eyes would glaze over. It was another language. And I had no interest in diving into it at that time. But when the time was right, I was in studio space, and the photographer was shooting fashion on Thunder Gray, and I just I loved it. The lights and his style was very appealing to me. And then another photographer did these conceptual portraits with the costumes and the makeup, and so I just, both of those resonated with me so deeply that I went out and bought a camera. And dove into the Nikon world, and that's just what the first photographer shot. And so if it's good enough for him, that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah. So, you shoot what you know, right?
That's right. I got a camera, I got some studio lights, and the rest, and I got YouTube. So I had to also learn why my entry-level Toshiba laptop would not even open Lightroom. So I had to, oh yeah, I got to go get a better computer so I can edit this. And so it was that was a journey. 2016, I went to my first photography conference where it was Shatterfest. And it was, the rest is history, I guess we could say. It
Awesome.
was through Shutterfest that I started developing my boudoir portfolio. And even from the very beginning, I was shooting, one of my first early sessions was shooting a guy with his shirt off. Is actually, I was, they say imitation is the highest form of flattery. So Peter Lindbergh had this beautiful image of this Spanish matador, and he's in jeans and his shirt was off and he was standing in this pose in the light. And so I studied that image and said, I want to figure out this lighting. And so I did. And that was one of the very first images that I was really super proud of. Now I look back on it and I was like, oh, my editing was terrible, but I nailed the lighting for sure. And my editing skills have definitely improved since way back in I think since it was 2016. So,
Okay.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I've not been doing this very long. And all the moves that we had and the twists and turns, with my ex's career, I really didn't start focusing on the business side of things until we kind of landed in Las Vegas and then kind of got settled here, and it looked like we were staying here for a while, and which I'm staying here for a while. So
Yeah. You like running the town, right?
I will be. Not yet. I gotta. Few people have to beat out. So
Yeah, we're speaking into existence. So,
Yes.
one of the things I loved about your story is your non-traditional approach to the industry.
Yeah.
You probably, on your educational platform, you probably hear a lot of photographers talking about, they started when they were young and they had a camera since they were a baby. And I always appreciate hearing the story from photographers who started later on in their life. Like, it's a realization that there is no script. Right?
Yeah.
There's no, the right time is the right time.
That's right.
It's
and
not
the right
like,
gear is the right gear too.
yeah. So I appreciate you sharing it, because a lot of people need to hear this. They
Yeah.
think, if I haven't been doing this for 20 years, then I'm not good enough. It's just like, start when you're ready.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. And that you can be successful. So, I mean, if I had to do it over again, which everyone has one of these stories, is, I would have studied the business side of photography much earlier. But I didn't, and I still have a passion for, I'm always wanting to study the technical side of photography and improve my skills there. But the business side definitely has been my focus for the last couple of years.
Gotcha. I love it. So I know you started in kind of like the fashion world. You started talking about how your daughter was a model, and you dove into that world. How did we get into like you really being an amazing boudoir and even erotica photographer? Like, what was that evolution like?
Well, it was, in the studio with the lighting, I always wanted to shoot studio work and loved, I still don't like shooting outdoors. I want to be in control of everything. And so, I was shooting fashion, and we moved to Memphis, and I just, I gave myself all these negative messages. You could never look at all the competition. You could never make it in anything fashion, and your work's not good enough, and blah, just negative, all in me. So I said, well, maybe I could take my style of lighting and fashion. I could do edgy senior portraits. That's because even from the very beginning, my work was, I had this edge to it that came naturally to me. So, but I was shooting, it kind of was a natural progression. I was always shooting male models, and just, I was doing a lot of trade work. I never charged anything in the beginning when I was learning. I didn't want to be a $50 photographer. I wasn't going to be a shoot and burn, like, here's your CD with all the the images on it. So, I mean, I went from being free to being, a pretty livable wage price point. So I think that's an important message to send people is, develop your skill set. And I understand people needing to, to make money. But anyway, getting off topic there. But my evolution came, I mean, I was shooting these models and just friends and people just to develop my skill set. And I just, even the first image that I did, the Peter Lindbergh image, I ended up, that was a guy with his shirt off. So I said, okay, well, you ask your wife if we can take pictures of your physique, and then I'll ask my husband if I can take pictures of your physique. And so we did that, and that was kind of the very first time where I was like, I like bodies. I like the human form. I want to shoot more of this. And so that was, and I always was wanting to shoot men and women both. So whenever I started looking at boudoir, I didn't even really know. I mean, I knew what boudoir was, but it didn't resonate with me in the beginning because I didn't really have a good understanding with boudoir and the level of empowerment. And I've gone through quite a transformation myself personally as I've gone on this photography journey. I've gone on a personal journey as well, and changed quite significantly as a person and have a better understanding of the human condition through the work that I do. But eventually I ended up really niching into boudoir. And my first exposure was a style that's very different than the style. It was a lot of the light and airy work. And I said, well, I love this, but I'm going to use my lighting and my style to do these same kinds of images. And it's really evolved from there, from more of a traditional boudoir glamour posed into work that's more organic. Not saying that I don't pose people, but there is a much more organic element to the work that I'm doing.
Yeah, and now on your journey, you're beyond boudoir.
Yes.
Right. Everything
Yes.
that's in your website is beyond boudoir and embracing sexuality and embracing body positiveness. And so where did that come in? Because I know boudoir is like, okay, yes, that is quote unquote like taboo within itself.
Right.
But then you enter into this kinky, this erotica, phase of people just wanting to unleash their desires, and you document that.
I do. It's quite interesting because my client base is not in the adult entertainment industry. They're, I'm not working with clients that have OnlyFans. My clients are private individuals, a lot of times married couples. And it started with me having a love for shooting art nudes and creating storylines and passion pieces. I did one with a model from Memphis who I've worked with every year since 2016. We connect. We've become great friends, and we did a piece on mental health, and it was dealing with depression and self-harm, and it was an art series that we created together. And it was all nude, and those kind of things. I just fell in love with creating art with the human body, and I had not even explored bodyscapes at that point. This was I think this was probably in 2017 that we created that series. But I started, exploring more and more shooting fine art nude, and then I ended up in early 2020, right before the shutdown, right before COVID, I ended up doing 2 workshops here in Vegas. One was the art of nude storytelling, and one was a photographer's guide to shooting kink. And so while I was there, the instructors it was some of the best education that I had paid for. It was fantastic. The instructors were very good. And in the photographer's guide to shooting kink, the instructors spent quite a bit of time explaining the difference in the power dynamics and how, you can't just come into this. shooting, if you're shooting a sub and dom scene, then you need to have an understanding of the dynamics of that. You can't just, it's not just a playtime and shooting whatever you want to make it look realistic. And they did a fantastic job of explaining all of that. So I kind of dove in and just provided some. I'm not in a kink lifestyle, kink community, or I'm not in swinger lifestyle. But some of the people are my clients, but more than not, most of my clients are, like I said, just private people. Sometimes they're kink curious at best, and then other clients have their own kink practices with amongst themselves. And I have a couple of clients that are in the lifestyle swinger community, and so that's always interesting and fun. They come back every year, which is something I didn't expect whenever I started doing this work. That I have clients that shoot with me repeatedly, and I can talk on that at some point if you want to. It was pretty mind blowing for me, the progression of realizing that the clients are coming back again and again to work with me.
You know what I love about this story is that you started off the conversation talking about self-taught, YouTube University, and then you go to paid workshops and say, you know what, there's more out there, and then you stumble on this niche that you're just like, and you just ran with it. And I think it's a testament to a lot of photographers that are like, I could just learn all this all myself. And it's like, yes, right? Like you can learn stuff online, but there's some gems. And like being in person with someone that you love, you trust, you're interested, and that's a professional that can literally change the trajectory of your entire career.
Absolutely. And you can also, because this happened to me as well, I went to a workshop with a very well-known educator, and what I paid for wasn't what I felt like I got. And that's very common. That's very common. So, I mean, one of the things that I teach on my platform is here's things you need to know when you're seeking out workshops and mentors, because not everyone is the same. And I'm so transparent. I'm like, I know I'm training my competition, but you know what? I can't train someone to be me, and that's my secret sauce. It's but I don't mind telling people, especially people who've hired me for mentoring or who've paid to come to a workshop that I'm leading. And it's different if you're in a 90-minute platform. Shutterfest moved to 2 hours last year, which was really awesome. So it's different when you have 2 hours to speak. The amount of information that you can give and is different than if you're doing a 4-hour or 6-hour workshop.
Yeah, no, awesome. I feel like this is like a masterclass on like, listen, there is no one way to accomplish your goals,
right.
Like, and I enjoy just listening to your journey and to your career. Thank you for sharing. I would love to hear about, because you said you have a lot of clients, you have a lot of interesting clients with interesting lifestyles and stories that come from all over the world to photograph with you.
Yeah.
Could you share with us like something particularly that's most memorable or a challenging photo session and how you were able to overcome those obstacles?
Well, I have a lot of clients, and part of my process is with those clients, when it comes to signing releases, I protect my clients' privacy, not just with their images, but also with who they are, where they're from, what they do for a living, anything they tell me, anything about them. So I only have... So only stories that they've said, oh yeah, you can share that, are things that, because a lot of times I find that, the work I do is obviously very intimate, and some people are on a therapeutic journey themselves, and they're doing this as an expression. Some clients are, have lived a lifetime of sexual shame, and they're finally at a point where they're saying, I want to love myself. I want to explore who I am, not just on a sensuality and beauty side of things, but they want to take that next step and explore sexually and just to embrace everything about themselves. And so I've had quite a few sessions where one in particular I think of, where the client came and we started doing the shoot, and a lot of times my erotica sessions they're a boudoir session in the beginning, and then we get into doing some fine art nude, and then we get into some more sexualized images. And so during that process, when we started getting into the art nudes, and just the mood kind of shifted and changed, and we started talking on a deeper, more personal level. And she just started sharing her story of how she was in her mid to late 30s, and she just started sharing her story of mental health issues and her, undiagnosed mental health issues in her teen years, and hospitalizations and self-harm. And there was it was so deeply moving. I stopped shooting and sat down and talked and just listened, really, and held space for her to just share. And she did, and it was good, and we continued with the session. It was a beautiful session, and that happens quite a bit, not necessarily sitting down and talking in depth with clients.
Yeah.
But my clients just get so personal with me and just share so much about themselves and who they are, and how long. A lot of my clients are most of my clients are 40 and over. And a lot of them are, with my couples particularly, it's people whose children are either older teenagers or they've gone off into college, and they're the couple of empty nesters, and they look at each other and realize, what's happened the last 15, 20 years of our life, where we're, who are you? And and so, and I do have, it's a lapsed certification, but I do have a certification as a marriage coach, and I have a background in psychology, and used to, back in my previous career, up until 2006, I worked with at-risk youth. So I have a pretty solid foundation in processing with people and talking people through trauma, and and then with married people in this situation where you drift. It's so easy to do when you have kids, and then one day wake up and you're living with a stranger. And so I have some clients that come to me just as part of reigniting that spark and capturing, reconnecting with each other. It's really beautiful. And especially whenever they share that. They don't always share, but sometimes they do.
Well, you know what? I firmly believe that the universe makes no mistakes. Right?
I agree.
And from you having that life experience where you were talking about your marriage coaching, your certifications, and being trained to be able to give people space, because that's a skill set. Not everyone is able to do that. And the beauty in you having that in your backpack and being able to just take it out in this very, very just vulnerable space, this vulnerable industry that you're in, that's absolutely amazing. It's to me, it reminds me that, our clients are people too. And yes, it's easy to say that, but sometimes photographers, are just like, okay, another client, another number. I need to get my bills paid,
I'm a robot.
It's like, but your story is a reminder that, like, these are people that have real life issues, that have real feelings that come to us, whether they're sharing with their words or with their body or their body language. And you taking that pause and just putting your camera down and giving them space, I know that was monumental, because as a wedding photographer, I can see when my couples need that space, and I do the same thing. Like, I kick people out of the room because I know they just need a moment, because it's no longer about the wedding day, it's about them.
Right. Well, and the foundation of my business is built on my connection with clients, and that's why clients book me for second, third, fourth, fifth shoots, coming back again and again. And we we established this relationship. I didn't really understand that or expect that whenever I started with this. And so it's been part of my evolution as well. And realizing that I had to unpack a lot with myself. I had to deal with my own shit. Sorry. Had to get a lot of stuff dealt with, and which ultimately also, included being divorced. So, and, just really unpacking that and dealing with that and understanding who I truly was before I could even get to that step with my clients. And so that's, 2023, my word for the year was authenticity. And so that's me just being real and authentic with my clients. And it makes such a huge difference in that connection and that ability to, I'm talking to naked people. So
for sure.
I need them to be comfortable. Yes. And in fact, I think one of the biggest compliments, there's two big compliments I received. One of the biggest compliments I received was from a couple in the swinger lifestyle. And after their session, they said, we have never been more, he was naked. She had on some lingerie. Yeah. He was like, I've never been more comfortable in front of anyone than I am, or than we've never been more comfortable in front of anyone than we were with you. And I thought, wow, that's a great compliment considering it's coming from someone in the swinging lifestyle. Because they've been in front of other people. Most of my clients, the great majority of my clients, this is a first time experience for them. They've never been naked in front of someone who's, other than a doctor or their partner, and they certainly have never touched themselves or each other in front of someone else. So it's a new experience for them.
That is absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So I want to switch gears. You started out saying you started doing things for free. And then you started charging. So where did the print lifestyle come from? So being self-taught and saying in this world of, digital, how did that transpire? And then where did Fundy enter into that? Like now everybody that comes to you walks away with fine art.
Yes. And that's where it came from is showing my clients what images look like on metal and on canvas, and showing them albums and letting them see that, this is beautiful in print, and, it's great on your phone, but, are you really going to look at it on the phone? And I have clients that contact me months and months and months after their shoot and say, we just want to let you know, we pull our album out every time we get ready to go on date night, look through our pictures, relive our experience, and it's wonderful. And so I have a older male client that is booking a second shoot, and he let me know that we did a beautiful bodyscape and he got it on a metal print. I think he's in his late 60s, early 70s, and it was beautiful, printed on this big piece of metal, and they have it hanging in their bedroom. And he told me, he said, every time we have friends over, my wife takes them in the bedroom to show them the piece of art. And so he said, I think it's time to create another piece of art. So we're coming again. So
I love it. And so how has Fundy helped you create this type of art?
Well, Fundy has been amazing because, and I wish I had come into it much earlier. One of the things I love for my clients to be able to be part of the creating process. Some clients don't want to, but others do. And so Fundy just makes it so incredibly easy. I lay out albums and the options that they have available. One, it's very easy to manage and navigate, even because I haven't been using it that long. I wish I had been using it longer, but it was so easy to just right away pick up and start using right out of the, right as soon as it's downloaded. I could figure it out without a lot of like YouTube University stuff, or Fundy University stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so the great thing about it is, I can look at there's so many different options for layouts that it gives you. And, I can look really quickly on my screen and just see which one it usually just jumps right out at me. I'm like, that's the one that I need to go with. So I get it all laid out, and the way it's so easy for them to proof and make notes. And it's been such an amazing tool for me, but also an amazing tool for my clients to communicate back with me what their needs are and what they, what they would like to see, if anything different. Usually I get the design. I've not had very many come back and say they want a different design with it. So there's so many good options. Like I said, one just jumps out at me as being this one. This one is the right one. So
Gotcha.
I definitely love it.
Awesome. Do you have like a favorite feature in Funny that you just could not live without?
Well, there's several actually, but the proofing is fantastic. That is one that, for my clients to, like I said, be able to go in and put the notes the way they are. And that I just love that. But the other feature, like I said, instead of building an album manually where you're like, let me see how this one looks. Let me see how this one, let me, these borders, and, just doing it all manually is so time consuming. So the feature where you can look at all the different layout options for your set of images, that is invaluable. It is that made even if it didn't have the proofing, that alone makes for such a better album design than what I was offering before.
Yeah, the design library is extensive. I love it too. That's one of my favorites.
I haven't even explored all of it yet, but but whenever I'm sitting down to do an album, because I push that with my clients. You want this in print. In fact, the collections, especially on the erotica side, the collections that people buy are the ones that come with the album. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I would love to hear, we talked about your business, we talked about Fundy, how it's improved your business and your productivity. Could you share with us either like your most memorable or your biggest sale to date?
Oh, let's see. My biggest sale to date from one client was a client that was coming in on Grammy weekend, and it was a combined boudoir and art nude and couples session, but it also was a lifestyle session because they were, they wanted pictures getting ready, going to the Grammys, and then pictures of them after they're dressed and everything. So that was a custom quote, and it ended up being quite a bit. So that was my biggest sale today. It was
awesome.
$14,000.
Awesome.
For that day of. I say a day of work, but really, it's way more than a day of work. People don't understand that, well, you're just doing a photo shoot. You charge so much. And I'm like, it's not just a photo shoot. You don't it's not just that one day of work. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
But that was my biggest sale. That was I think that was in, COVID year messed me up. That was in February of 21 when I had that big sale. And
awesome.
Maybe it was 22. I can't remember. But anyway, but whenever that happened, that's the light bulb went off, and I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. People will pay me this much money for, only one day of work. Really not one day of work, but you know what I'm saying. And so, so that really motivated me and lit my fire that this is going to be the price point that I'm landing in. And so, and even this year, my clients, my average has been 6,500 per session, and that's just happening over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Where clients are getting into, I'm moving up, and that's by design. It was something, like I said, I went from being zero to already being what a lot of people consider expensive.
Yeah.
And then by design, my plan was to move into the next level, and I'm on track with my timing. So once this goes, I've got my next plan in place for taking it up one more notch. So
Beautiful. I love it. What I love even more is that you talk about how the light bulb went off, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, again, going back to being self-taught, going back to, just taking fashion pictures, to entering into this entire different world, investing in yourself, in your education, trying different things out, to now making these big sales is like, yes,
Yeah.
I can do it. And people are coming to you because they trust you, because you put that stuff out there. I love it.
yeah, it's been pretty fascinating and exciting for me, because I was financially dependent on my ex-husband for all those years. And when I left the workforce in 2006, he and I made the same salary, and then from 2006 forward, it took me getting to the point that I am now, where I'm able to financially support myself. And so it's been just amazing.
Awesome. Well, first of all, congratulations on that journey.
Thank
because
you.
I know it's not easy. So
No.
I want to give you that kudos.
Yeah, and people ask, like, what advice would you give to, photographers? And I mean, if I had to do things over, I would have invested in mentorship and small workshops earlier in my journey. I think I would have invested more time in understanding the business side of things, and why my artist heart wants to because I've always been artistic. I've always, I paint, I do poetry, I do, interior design, and so there's always been a creative element in my life. But once I found photography, then I just wanted to just learn photography and learn, and I still have notebooks full of ideas of concepts and things I want to shoot that are, very personal to me, and artistic projects. So I have a client coming tomorrow who has said, I love everything you do, so whatever you want to do. So those are the shoots that I absolutely love, when a client is like, I give it to you. Just I'll be your muse. And so
those are the best feelings,
yay,
right?
Yes.
Perfect. And so I love how you talked about, that business piece of it. So going down that rabbit hole, you already know that Fundy has created a new app to help save people time, productivity, workflow, the social design app. So, and I know you know a little bit about it, and you have some plans on implementing it.
Yes.
I would love to hear your thoughts and how you plan to incorporate it in your own workflow.
Right. Well, you said a key word there: productivity and workflow, and that's something that I've really come into a lot over the last year and a half, because I'm always working. And it's, I've got to take things off my plate. And one of the things about the social design app is that, you can use this to go ahead and prep all of your social media images. And it's really great for people that are familiar with Canva. It's got all the templates in there. And it's specifically for your social media. So you don't have to go figuring out, what do I use and how do I do this? And so my plan to use that, now I'm a solopreneur. I do everything myself. I very rarely, I don't outsource anything on a regular basis. Last year I outsourced a couple of things, big projects I needed to do. So one of my downfalls is, or one of my problems is that I don't post on my social media nearly enough. Mm-hmm. And so with my new CRM that I'm using, Lead Savage, they have a whole section where you can post your social media. So I'll be doing the social design app to to get all of my images ready and to get my captions. I think you said that they're putting the ability to do some video, which is going to be great when that comes out, because that's another area that, with the changing landscape of SEO and social media, video is becoming such an important tool, and that's one tool that I've got to get in my toolbox. But the social design app, having that in my toolbox is definitely going to help with my workflow and speeding things along on getting my social media, breathing some life back into my Instagram, and at least until they decide to shut me down, because they don't like boudoir photographers. They definitely don't like art nudes or erotica. So those are, you have to be a little careful with that.
Yeah. For sure. So this is the final question before we jump into the rapid fire.
Okay.
What are some skills or qualities that you think are essential for people who are just entering this industry, or people who've been here for 30 years and just, they're trying to get to that next level?
Yeah.
What, any skills and qualities that you think are essential for success in this industry?
I think the ability to have to create a safe and welcoming space is a judgment-free environment for your clients. But I think before you even take that step, what you have to do is you have to understand your value system, your belief system, where it comes from. Is it external or is it internal? Is it the messaging from society? Because don't know if y'all realize, but society tells us a lot of crap that's not really true and accurate, and that's what creates a lot of this sexual shame in people and just all kinds of things, prejudice, bias against other people who aren't just like them. And so, and I've gone through an incredible journey, and we don't have enough time to share all of this, but I've changed so much because I continually evaluate my life, and self-discovery, I think, is one of the most important things for a photographer to be able to do is go on a journey with themselves before they start a journey with their clients, because you have, especially because we're working with people who are willing to be so vulnerable with us, and and we've got to create a space that is comfortable for them. That's the feedback that all my clients give, is that they're so incredibly comfortable working with me. And they understand my boundaries because I understand my boundaries. I know where they come from, and I know how to hold space for my clients without it crossing into my boundaries or into theirs. And to me, that's just a key for success especially with boudoir, but even more so with erotica as well.
I love it. When you said that, it just gave me chills. Like, that was a soundbite. Like, like, you have to go on a journey with yourself before you start the journey with your clients. And I'm reminded,
it's such a big story,
right? I'm reminded as a parent, right? So I have 3 kids, 6, 10, and 15. And in order for me to be present for them, I have to understand, what does being present mean? Like, what does that look like for me? And when you were saying that, I'm thinking of, not every photographer is a parent or is a caretaker, but that journey and that self-exploration is so important to understanding other people.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's absolutely amazing. Listen, this is a masterclass on consent, self-exploration, body positivity. Like everything you're spewing are things that photographers think about, but don't talk about, Right. And I'm so glad that you have blessed us to begin this conversation and to continue this conversation. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. So we are going to jump into my favorite segment, rapid fire. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions. First thing that comes to your mind, so we can get to know the tea about Pam.
There we go. More. Okay, here we go.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to start off with a softball question.
Okay.
If your life was a story, what would it be titled?
Pam's Wild Ride.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, what is your favorite lens to shoot with?
Right now, I'm shooting with the Z 24-70. That's my go-to lens.
Awesome. Do you like to travel to the beach or mountains?
Oh, I would prefer beach.
Beach. I love it. Favorite snack while working?
Anything chocolate,
Chocolate.
as long as there's no mint. No
Okay.
mint.
Oh, I don't understand why people mix mint and chocolate. I
know.
don't get it.
No.
If you could win an Olympic gold medal, what would it be in?
Photography? Do they have Olympic photography? Is that...
Listen, you're going to create it, right?
I will. Watch me do it.
Awesome. What print product makes you the most money?
Metal prints. That really is. My clients love it's been kind of mind blowing, some of the images that clients are printing. It's amazing.
Beautiful. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Bon Jovi, I think.
Okay.
Pretty sure, because I had his poster, like 10 of his posters on my wall when I was a teenager. So
Beautiful. Best advice you've ever received?
Most recent advice that I ever received that I would say is probably some of the best came from my very wise 24-year-old daughter, who said, when you worry and stress about something that hasn't happened yet, you're traumatizing yourself with that. And then if it does happen, you're traumatizing yourself twice. If it doesn't happen, you've traumatized yourself for no reason. And so easier said than done to not worry about something that you have no control over. But that's such amazing advice. I've had to remind myself when I've dealt with things that, you're traumatizing yourself. That may not even happen. So just wait. So,
Look at you raising wise children, right?
I tell you, the homeschooling, I taught them, I didn't care what they learned. I wanted to teach them how to learn, and I wanted to teach them logic and critical thinking skills. And I did a good job. So
Gotcha.
I can't win an argument against them because they get all Socratic with me and start asking questions. And then I'm like, okay, y'all are right.
Awesome. So just a few more. Biggest clue that a client may be a pain in the butt or problematic?
Well, they usually don't become a client when that happens, because the biggest clue is they step out of bounds with me. I usually prompt a client. Some people are really eager, and so that's it. If they step out of bounds with me, it sends up a red flag, and I'm very strict. I don't take all the clients that want to work with me. Mm-hmm. So some clients want to work with me, and I'm just, I realize they've overstepped my bounds during our consultations. So what would they do during the shoot?
Gotcha. Two more questions.
Okay.
Would you rather, I'm sorry, what superpower, if you could choose any superpower, would you have?
Oh, this one's so hard. I think I would choose telepathy.
Okay.
That's what I would choose, yes.
Telepathy. I love it. I feel like that goes, it's full circle on everything that you're talking about, right?
Yes. Not only could you use it in my work, but I could use it in all kinds of places, like the casino.
Gotcha. Last one. Describe your style in one word.
It's a hard word. I would say sensual. That would be sensual.
I love it. Pam, this has been amazing to chat with you. I'm so excited for other people just to listen once, twice, 3 times on just all the gems and valuable information that can help them be a better person, not just a better photographer, right? Because we talked about how to be a better person too,
right?
Which is absolutely amazing. And before we wrap up, I just want to give you some space and some time to tell people where they can find you, how they can learn from you, how they can work from you, because after listening to this, I know they're going to want to learn some more. So the floor is yours. Go ahead and tell us.
Well, I can be found in Las Vegas, and my website is pamfieldsphotography.com. I struggled with trying to come up with a brand name, and I just determined, you know what, I am my brand, so that's it. I don't have definitive plans right now, but there is a high probability I'll be doing a winter workshop in Vegas. I have a speaking engagement in April 2024 in Boston, and it's men's erotica photography retreat. Well, the retreat is a erotica, kink and erotica retreat. And that's through the After Dark group that is hosting that retreat. And then I've got a couple of speaker applications in, so no word yet on those, but hopefully I'll be selected and people can see me speaking at a couple of national conferences as well. So,
Beautiful.
But I do mentoring with people, and I also do offer workshops at other times if I have enough people reach out and want to come to Vegas, or I travel as well. So I'm always happy to guide people along this path and get them started and show them all my tricks and secrets and tips for working with men and working with couples, and then working beyond boudoir if that's their interest.
I love it. Pam, just thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you having me on.
Not a problem. So this was a Success by Design with Fundy podcast and the amazing Pam Fields. I feel like you just need to write a whole memoir right now.
That's so funny you say that, because this last week, the words came out of my mouth of, I think I'm going to write a book.
Yep.
And it's going to be a memoir and photography book combined. So how it all kind of works together, because if the story of my life had happened any differently, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So if my divorce had come at any other time in my journey, I wouldn't be living in Vegas. I wouldn't be a photographer. I wouldn't have the skill set that I have. It's just been amazing, incredible. Yeah. And like you said, I believe that the universe, everything is in perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, you've been amazing. And I can't wait to meet you in person and to chit chat more. Thank you again.
Anytime you're in Vegas, look me up. So it's one great thing about this city is photographer friends come through pretty regularly, and we can meet up and have a meal together and get to know each other.
For sure. And if you guys are watching this, please drop Pam a love note, because she's just been sharing amazing gems just about life, period. And she would love to hear how you thought about the entire podcast, her entire life story, and her approach to a very, very niched field. And so I'm so honored and so glad that you were able to share this with us. So till next time, friends.
Yes,
have a nice day. Bye-bye.